What is happening, guys? Welcome to the show, man. This is where real estate agents learn how to become CEOs, not just in their business, but in their life. And, we're really here to cut through the noise, the busy work, the overcomplication, and really get down to what actually works. Today, we've got expert mentors where top operators and industry experts share real world strategies on leadership, systems, operations, and AI. So you can actually apply what works in today's market. So listen, whether you're here to scale, simplify, or solve your next bottleneck, you are in the right place. Tony, welcome, brother.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Super excited to be here.
Yeah, man, it is. It's great to have you. And a lot of different directions we can go, and I'm sure we will. But man, the market is the market. Being in the game for quite some time, the roller coaster's up and down, but it really is a unique, interesting kind of space we're in right now. What from your experience, what you're seeing, multiple companies, obviously head deep into AI. What's actually different in the market right now?
So I think what's different in the market right now is now more than ever, you have to really understand as an agent how to talk to your customer, not at your customer. What worked 2 and 3 years ago, the home valuations, things like that don't apply and work today. In a down economy, you have to get really resourceful with your customers and how you talk to your customers, right? For a lot of us, I feel that we're starting to find our next buyer, right? Right now it's buyer's market. Here in Orlando, Florida, there's I would say about 12 months of inventory in the market. And right now it's the name of the game is who owns the buyers, right? So how are you getting in front of those buyers? How are you talking about the pain points of those buyers right now? Because the number one pain point is obviously rates, right? Rates are a big pain point. But how are you having relational and meaningful relationships with your buyers, with your sellers? That way, one, if you have a seller, chances are you're probably going to have to do a price reduction at some point. So you're teeing up that from the very beginning, okay? But two, with buyers, how are you meeting them at where they're at, and how are you showing them why you are worth your commission, when you go to that buyer's agency brokerage agreement?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, I come from, just a mindset within the real estate space, listings, not just listings, but motivated to borderline desperate sellers has always been kind of our first, if you were going to say, where the focus is. So I love that, right? Tons of inventory, the buyers, working with the buyers, but obviously seeing the shift there. But the agents that are struggling, what are you seeing the real cause of the struggle to be?
Honestly, not setting the right expectation. As a former director of sales for some real estate office here in Central Florida, a lot of agents, especially the newer ones, are so excited to get a listing. They'll tell the seller anything to get the listing, tell them what they want to hear. They don't understand how to navigate the conversation to be very professional, yet very honest, and to position the conversation in a way that's going to be a benefit to them. The biggest conversation I have with my sellers right now is, okay, we're probably going to take a little bit of a nosedive on the sale, but let's make sure we make up for that on the buy. Okay.
Yeah.
See, a lot of people, when they go to a listing appointment, they even forget, are you buying? I can't tell you how many times I went on listing appointments with my agents I was managing that they even failed to ask, are you buying something? Right. And to me, I position it as, okay, if you're buying something for me and selling something with me, you shouldn't have to lose. And when I explain that, it's like, oh, okay, so I'm already setting up for the kill of you are going to lose a little money on your sale. And better yet, what's actually helped me, because I actually have 2 luxury listings right now. What's helped me with my luxury listings is I ask them, listen, I will take your listing on the condition that you allow me to do a professional appraisal, third party. I will pay for it, but it's for you. And what that appraisal amount comes to, you have to reduce by 5%. And understand that that is still our starting point. We may have to come off to that. And that's actually helped me land these listings because these individuals want to move. They want to grow. Like I have a $2.2 million listing right now, and they want to move and they think it's worth 3. And I'm like, no, when we did the appraisal, it came back much lower. than what they thought. And now that I was actually able to quantify them in a third party, they were all about it. So,
Do you run like net sheets, kind of see what the math would be on the sell and the buy when you're
absolutely.
the whole thing? I love that strategy because we are into a market to where your sellers may take a little hit or not get the most amount of money, but then you got to show where they'll make it up on the buy side. You got to do the math for them. I mean, I agree with you 100%. I love that. So within the shift that we're in, what would you say some of the new rules? Let me back up for a second, Tony, just because there was something I wanted to ask you about what you said about it's a skills void, right? There's a void of skill in the marketplace. Is that because of coming out of COVID when things were easy, everybody got lazy? Is it just undisciplined back to the training? Is it newer agents? Like, what is it that there's such a skill void?
I think I don't care about someone's brand. I don't care if they're at Remax, Keller Williams, EXP, wherever you're at. Okay. I don't care about that. I think it's a lack of education from the brokerage. Okay. I think brokers are very reliant on, the corporate training that teaches agents how to stay in the box, essentially, which is great. I'm not knocking it, but what are those skills that are going to pay the bills, right? What are those nuances that you have to know how to bob and weave the conversations? When I was director of sales at our real estate firm, that's what I focused on. But my per agent productivity at that brokerage was 10 transactions per agent per year, right? On my team, it was 8 to 9, far above the national average for agents. Why? Because that's what I focus on. I feel like if brokers and directors of education of these companies would focus on how can I help my agents have these tougher conversations with ease, there would be a lot more transactions happening, in my opinion.
Just a lack of leadership, a lack of training, a lack of guidance on
100%.
pouring in. So
100%.
do you think the lack of what's the cause of lack of leadership?
God, I don't mean to be controversial, but I think it's
but you can be. That's okay.
Okay. I honestly feel like the lack of leadership comes down to the brokers so focused on recruiting or retention and their dollars. They're not focusing on the agent because the agent produces their dollars. Meanwhile, the brokers focus on agent attraction, recruiting, and their P&Ls right now in a down economy. I saw that in the brokerage I was director of sales at. They focused on how can I cut back instead of how can I pour in. Right? How can I cut back on my staff? How can I come back on my team instead of how can I pour in?
Yeah. So not giving them what they need. They're trying to cut every corner. It's funny. I remember the old, I don't know where I heard this story, but it was like the father had like one of the best hot dog stands in the city, right? And he had this just awesome neon cool sign that said world's best hot dogs, pointed to his cart. And his son, who's just talking, was just with him and is like, hey, Dad, recession's coming. We got to watch every penny we're spending. You can't be paying for that billboard, that sign anymore. So he takes the sign down and, of course, the business stops. Yeah, exactly. And so it's like sometimes not knowing what's working to drive your business and you're cutting it just to cut. Therefore, you might just be cutting the whole lifeblood of your entire business.
100%. And another thing I think is letting agents be their own brand, empowering agents, right? Empowering agents to be their own brand, to have their own niche in the market. Yeah. I'm seeing that a lot with, the Anywhere brands. That is something, I came from that brand. I was at ERA, and it was all promote them. And right now, if you know that agents in transactions with the lifeblood of your business, why are you trying to hold back from them? I would double down as an agent. I had a broker reach out who actually is an independent brokerage in Alabama. He owns 3 offices, has over 140 agents, super profitable brokerage. And he asked me, what do I charge to go out and speak for the company? I gave him a price and I thought he was going to say no. He said, okay, how soon can I wire transfer this money over to you? I'm like, he's like, I believe in my agents and I want to empower them. I was like, that is what is going to pay the bills in 2026.
Yeah,
Right?
I love that. So back to my question that I was going to ask you before, I wanted to kind of get where the void was. When you look at the shift that's happened, what are kind of rewriting the new rules of real estate in today's market? What are those rules?
Number one, you have to identify that whatever messaging you put out to them needs to talk to that specific client avatar. Don't send them the dryer sheet emails, the rotisserie chicken emails of how to build that stuff. You need to send them specific talk tracks that are specific to that buyer's pain point. And that doesn't mean sending them the MLS listings every day when they come in. It means, hey, I noticed, you're at this 150 price point. Here are 3 different options that can help you achieve your goal and maybe even exceed your goal. And then once you send that email, and this is the biggest GOAT move in my opinion you can do, whenever you send an email, the next day, there should be an automation set up in your business that sends that customer a text message that says, hey, by the way, did you get my email I sent you yesterday? Imagine if everybody in your database, after you send an email, got a text message a day later saying, did you get my email yesterday? How many responses do you think you would get?
Yeah, there would be an uptick for sure. I mean, do you have the stats? Do you know? Have you measured?
On me, my database is very large, and I probably spend 10, and this is for one of my other companies, but in that company, we spend probably, I don't know, about 5K on text messaging a month, literally. We have tens of thousands of individuals we text. That one text message alone brings in probably about 50 to 60,000 in revenue a month. And that's in our jewelry company that I own. In the agency side, I don't do that as much, only when it comes to my listings, when I have inquiries for my listings. And I'll tell you that when for example, that $2.3 million listing, whenever I get inquiries, they get added to my newsletter. And then those text messages, hey, did you get my listing? I can't tell you how many buyers, probably 4 or 5 buyers have decided to work with me as a luxury side because of how I'm following up with them. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, even in that price point, higher net worth individuals, more affluent individuals appreciate, especially if they're business owners or in responsible for divisions and other people, they appreciate that a lot. Right. And sometimes I think we get into like, well, I don't want to bombard them. I don't want to, I don't want to bother them. It's like, no, dude, like they're busy. They appreciate, the follow-up.
Mm-hmm. And my other thing to that, you just said a good thing. I don't want to bombard people. I don't want to text them too much. My challenge to that is, let's say, for example, myself, I love built clothing, built shirts, right?
Yep.
A lot of us love Lululemon. How many emails does Lululemon send out a day? 3, 4. Same thing with Built. Guess what? I'm still subscribed. I'm not unsubscribed to them. Why? Because they're sending me communication that relates to me. If you send communication that relates to the consumer, they're not going to unsubscribe.
Yeah. It's the whole speaking at them or speaking to them, right? And really joining the conversation that's in their head. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Yeah. So what are some of the top strategies that you see top agents executing consistently right now? What are some of those top strategies?
Well, right now there's a big kick, and I've been leading this charge on auditing your automations in your business. Especially when it comes to if you're one of those users of Lofty, Bold Trail, Brivity, Grill Geeks, all those platforms, they all come with pre-made templated follow-up sequences. Mm-hmm. I would challenge each and every one of you that are using your follow-ups. Number one, I want to ask everybody who's listening to this, when was the last time you audited your follow-ups? Or have you ever?
I would say never.
Never, right? Number two, I have this stat. It's cost me roughly $200,000 last year because I didn't audit my database. How do I know that? is because the first thing I did when I got on Claude was I took screenshots of all of my follow-up sequences in my CRM. I asked Claude to analyze my follow-up sequences and identify why I'm not getting replies back. And what it said to me was astounding. It said, you're not building rapport, you're talking at them. And then I asked Claude, can you rewrite all my automations? And then it suggested to me, Tony, you have a very wide variety of buyers and sellers. Can we first segment them based on their price points? And I was like, yeah, segment that stuff. And then based on the segments, it built out automations that actually had people replying back to me. Right. And then that's when I implemented that. Hey, did you get that email I sent you yesterday? And now mind you, I think, well, Tony, if you're telling me to send an email out every single day, what are they going to get a text message every other day? No. Only on certain things. Only on ones where there's a really drive to call to action, right? You're doing that maybe once a month, once every other month. You know, when I would do that after the ask of the home value. So if someone says, if you send out an email promoting a home valuation report, that's when you would send that text message the day after. So that's what that's what I feel is working right now. And that costs nothing for anybody to do, but it could save you thousands of dollars. Because when I started sending out email campaigns again pretty heavily last year, I noticed my open rate was in the tubes. Like I wasn't getting any responses. I wasn't getting any traction, even from people that I thought were my friends. I had the best man at my wedding, my best friend bought from somebody else. He said to me, I didn't think you handled large lots. And I was like, oh my God, yes, I can. I've sold plenty of them in the past. He goes, well, you're always sending me waterfront stuff. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. And then that happened to me like 2 more times within that 90-day span. And then that's when I jumped on Claude.
Yeah. That's so good, man. What a good aha. And sometimes, you know, I mean, we got to get smacked in the face, right? To wake up that something's actually, you know, not working or that's broke. So from a core system perspective, all agents need to have, we would say, one, the follow-up sequence that's segmented and speaking specifically to that individual. What would be 2 other core systems that every agent needs in their business right now?
So number one, if I'm a big professional of this, I also give it out for free, is high level, go high level. I love go high level for the simple fact is I can customize every aspect of it to my business. Yeah. There's very little guardrails, and implemented properly, it's a machine, right? I could build unlimited funnels. They have templates. I could build unlimited follow-up sequences, and now all their other integrations like voice AI, chat AI, all the things that is being talked about now is integrated into high level for next to nothing, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's one. Another one I would say is Lofty has this new platform called Blaze where you can launch ads seamlessly. Is a really good one. I think if you're an agent right now and you're struggling and you're like, okay, where can I spend my money? I see this every day. I see this in the Facebook groups. I have $500. What should I do? A lot of people don't realize for $500 you could, if you have ads done right, you could literally generate a ton of leads from Facebook. But if you're generating a ton of leads from Facebook and you don't have the proper follow-up sequences for those leads, you're pouring water into a sinking ship. And that's where high level comes in. So to me, my secret weapon is high level.
So we're running that, and so utilizing go high level, utilizing AI, need to make sure, one, running ads, capturing them, utilizing. So it's client acquisition, right? It's lead generation and lead conversion are the main core systems that we've got to have right now.
Absolutely. 100%. Because if you don't have that, I mean, if no one knows you're there, no one knows you're there.
Right.
You could be the best agent. It goes back to, I have this analogy like Louis Vuitton store in the middle of the desert. You can be the best agent with the best accolades, but if no one knows you're there, no one knows you're there. I had a very spirited conversation with one of my close friends. You would probably know him, but I don't want to say his name on the call. But he's a massive prospector. He dials every single day. And I said, dude, that's not scalable.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, but I'm doing $20 million in transactions. I was like, what if I can get you in front of 30 sellers in one shot and book you 15 different appointments? Because I'm a huge webinar guy. I do 3 to 4 webinars a week. And my webinars are 3 to 4 hours long. And I do them for all my companies that I have. Mm-hmm. And to me, I think the biggest missed opportunity right now is an agent running seller webinars and buyer webinars as to, for example, I'm working on with Rebecca and Josue Soto right now on a webinar for buyers. And that webinar is specifically going after buyers who are looking for new construction, but don't buy new construction until you join this class, join this course. Because if you're running an ad, the cheapest ad you can get and the cheapest lead you can get is a webinar lead. $2 and $3. I've been doing that for Veronica Figueroa. We're getting her $2 webinar leads to our climber masterclass or a climber thing we have going on. So it's insane how inexpensive webinars are also right now for individuals. And that's scalable because now you can talk to 20 people and 30 people at one time versus 1-to-1, right? And yes, there's a triple line dialer out there, but still.
Yeah. But this is also having, people that are raising their hand, they're interested, they're coming to you more so shooting fish in a barrel than just blindly shooting out into the ocean, right? It's kind of maybe the way to think about it.
Yeah.
No, it's so good. So let's get into kind of where everything we're talking about, which is on the AI and automation side of things. And I mean, it's the hottest thing, right? Everybody's talking about it. You can't go anywhere without AI something, but most, what was the statistic off of the Moonshots guys?
It was like
less than 5% of the people that utilize any of the frontier models actually have a paid subscription. So not even scratching the surface of what even is possible. So we can just already say most are not using it effectively. What are they getting wrong? What are they getting wrong?
They're not asking the simple question of how could this prompt be better? When they're so for example, I see agents all the time, number one, the only 2 paid platforms I have is ChatGPT and Claude, which I'm fixing to cancel my ChatGPT. So Claude's my only paid platform, like undoubtedly. But to me, I would say when you are prompting, let's say you're wanting to create a buyer's guide or a seller's guide, okay? Asking, is this the best prompt? And I would say, hey, ChatGPT, I want to create a buyer's guide for people looking to buy homes in Windermere, Florida. Can you please create this buyer's guide for me? And create a prompt. Yes. It creates the prompt. Then asking it, is this the best you can do? And then asking after there, what's missing from this prompt? And then asking again, is this the best you can do? And then what's missing? I go back and forth like that 3 or 4 times, and I challenge it 3 or 4 times to then come up with this beautiful prompt. So I think people use AI, especially when they're prompting to try to figure out what they want to do with it. I think they just take it for face value and say, okay, that's what it said. That's what we'll do. All right. That's the prompt to give you the first go.
Yeah. I love that. Why should people cancel their ChatGPT paid subscription?
I mean, for me, I'm canceling it because I just don't use it enough anymore, to be very transparent with you. I feel like the LLM model is outdated at this point. Their graphics are not that good anymore. Like Chat's graphics used to be great. They're not as good anymore. And we can get to that too if you want to talk about graphics. Like I'm a huge geek on graphics. But it's like me hiring somebody fresh out of high school versus me hiring somebody with a PhD in everything.
Yeah.
That's how I feel right now. What's your thought on that?
So, do you believe that they've kind of held back on the innovation just with everything, that's about to go down in Oakland and Sam in court with Elon? Do you feel like there's some pumping the brakes to kind of get through the lawsuit?
Kind of, kind of, kind of. I also know that when companies regress like this, there's something even bigger coming.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, he's sitting on a truckload of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Billions
Mm-hmm.
and billions of money sitting on. So something big,
Mm-hmm.
you're right, could be coming.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I don't know. I just, same thing as you, right? Like, I feel ChatGPT hallucinates in the gaps too much,
Mm-hmm.
whereas some of the other models don't do that as bad. I think that's kind of my biggest takeaway from the usage of the different models. So that's just kind of where my take is. I agree with you. We're canceling the paid subscription. The whole team's move over to Claude. Have you? What did it drop this morning or something? But have you even looked into the Claude design yet?
No, I have not.
Yeah, so I saw the notification that came through like at midnight that so it's claude.ai/design. So they got the whole new design piece in there, especially with the new 4.7 that came out. So there was still some, I saw some early, examples, and they were like, okay, it's missing this, but maybe, here. So bro, it's just moving so fast. It is just moving at warp speed, and it's just wild to see how fast things are moving.
Yeah, it is. It is scary. It's wild. I've been diving in, like I mentioned a while back on another call meeting you did, was voice AI, and that's something that I used to be very big into one platform, and now I'm kind of not. I'm going back to high level a little bit. But to me, it's even harder. It's even harder now. Like, the best move in AI is to pick one platform and stick with it and don't divert. I know my business partner, he's a big AI expert, and he loves Gemini. He loves all the off. I don't, Gemini's not off brand, but you know what I mean. It's not fun.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, just my age and, growing up with, Google it, right? Just Google it. So my default behavior is always right back to Google, hit Gemini. Like, I make sure it's in AI mode. I don't click on any of the links. I don't look at the links. I just take face value now, what AI mode tells me. And I'm like, oh, dude, that's perfect. All right, let's go. Answers my question, keep moving. But, obviously that's just the chat level, right? Then you get into the automation side of things, which we talked about, automate my follow-up, which I 1000%, right? All of these agents, and, I love what Kinder's doing with Funnel Pilot, being able to take everything off your plate. All you need to do is just dump money, for ads. If you got, $300 this month to spend on money on your business, go spend the ads. But like you said before we hit go, dude, if you're generating leads, but if you don't have a automated follow-up system that speaks to that individual, you're on a sinking ship. I mean, I think that's how you phrased it. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? And then what are some of the other automations and systems we need to be thinking about to implement into our business?
Yeah. So, elaborating on that comment, okay, coming from a former team owner, the biggest, and I'm sorry if I'm going to speak some hard truth for a lot of you. This is going to be like, damn, this guy's either like, I needed to hear that, or this guy's a jerk. Okay?
They need to hear it. So I can already tell them they need to hear it.
They need to hear it. But let's be honest with you. When was the last time you got a Zillow lead, a Realtor.com lead, heck, any kind of inquiry, and you followed up with that individual at least 3 or 4 or 5 times? Because the fact of the matter is, just because you got a Zillow inquiry and you're following up with them right away, okay, they're probably at work on Zillow when they should be working, and they can't talk to you. They're probably at the dentist office waiting in the lobby, and they can't talk to you. So to me, if you plan on doing any kind of paid lead generation, and you do not have a follow-up system in place and you're going to rely on yourself, there's something called human error. And human error is a lot more relevant than AI error. When was the last time you really saw that AI messed anything up? Really hasn't, right? But humans are humans. And you may be thinking right now, well, Tony, I cannot afford to implement AI, to get these systems, to get these CRMs. Then great, get in a room that gives it to you.
Yeah.
There are tons of rooms out there that will give you AI for your business for free. Okay. It's out there in abundance. But to me, as an agent, the number one thing I look at is how is my follow-up sequences aligned for my business? And then once I have great aligned follow-up sequences, at that point, I'll add paid marketing to it. But I'm not going to pour water into a sinking ship. And a lot of agents do it reverse. They're so hungry. They need their next lead. They're okay. Who can I pay to get leads? No. Fix your systems first. Systems scale. Human error doesn't. So
I love that. You said get in the rooms. What's the criteria to know you're getting into the right room? There's a lot of fugazi, a lot of phonies out there that'll be like, oh, AI is the hottest thing. Hey, let's sell 75 houses this month just using AI, right? We're going to see a lot of that. But how do you know? How do you pass the BS test and know you're in the right room?
Show me. It's a very simple thing to show me. Because me and Jake do a webinar every Thursday on different AI topics. Jake's my business partner in real estate. And the reason why we're so successful is we don't just get on there and try to sell you something. We get on there and show you physically, you could see with your own eyes how this affects your business. Where I've seen there's a lot of AI experts out there that talk the theory, that talk this. By the way, you have to pay me $5,000 or $10,000 before I show you anything.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that I'm not going to pay you to go learn it for you to tell me. I want to know that you know this stuff. And I think that's how you pass the sniff test is if you join, and I'm telling everybody right now, sign up for as many webinars as you can. Tune out to those that are not showing you within the first 30 minutes. If you don't learn something in the next first 30 minutes, hop off the webinar, right? But there's a lot of individuals out there that actually do know what they're talking about. They're not few far between. What's his name? We had him on our climber webinar. Phil,
Stringer? You got Stringer? Yeah.
Yeah. Knows his stuff.
And he shows. He's a show and tell guy. When he teaches, he shows. That's just his teaching style. Yeah.
Yes. So that's my teaching style. I cannot sit here and physically talk about it. I have to show you what I'm talking about, right? Especially when it comes to my voice AI classes. I literally built from scratch a voice AI agent for our audience that is not pre-programmed. I want them to see, because I want to empower, my big goal mission is empower agents to build their own systems and their own success systems. That's what I want to know. That's what I want to do for the real estate industry. That's why I'm semi-part-time right now, is because I built out all these systems for all of my companies. And I'm like, if I could do it, this should be in real estate. Why aren't we doing it for others? Right?
Yeah. So. No, that's so good. I love that. And I think I know the answer, but for you right now, the way AI is being used today, that's changing the game. What are you seeing? Holy smokes, this is the best game changer right now with AI.
Voice AI. You probably know that answer.
That's what I thought you were going to say. Yes.
Voice AI. Yeah. Because guess what it does? It replaces the most painstaking task that you don't want to do as an agent.
Yeah.
But what I realized, and this is no fluff, I hired an ISA last year for my company. From Egypt, sounded amazing. Only wanted, I thought $1,000 a month. I was like, oh, that's it? 40 hours a week, $1,000? She's like, yes. I started learning about it pretty heavily at the beginning of 2025. And I said, you know what? I'm going to test voice AI versus this agent, this individual I trained for 2 weeks. 2 weeks of training, had to pay her. It was $500 I had to pay her for the training. And day one, she came in. I thought she was going to crush it. I was like, yeah, my voice AI just doesn't stand a chance. Well, 1 o'clock, she literally sends me a text message. Hey, Tony, I don't feel good. Can I please have the rest of the day? I'm so sorry. I know it's my first day. I was like, how many calls you booked? I didn't get any calls. Later on that night, because I launched voice AI in congruency with her, we had 9 appointments booked. 9. Why? Because it didn't take a break. It dialed quadruple the number she did. And guess what? It did sound horrible.
Yeah.
When I listened to the recordings, I was like, oh my, how on earth did this person? We had one recording where the guy's like, is this AI? And the agent's like, yes, I'm Tony's AI virtual assistant here to help you and talk about XYZ. The guy had a 10-minute conversation with the bot. I'm like, what?
Why is that? Why do you think that is?
I think they're very intrigued once they realize that the bot can literally hold a neuro-linguistic conversation. When it can actually empathize, it can actually sense what you're saying. I do a demo where I talk about, my flux capacitor isn't running, right, from Back to the Future. And he's like, oh, that's ha, 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 ha. Are you trying to go back to 1952 with that thing? Let's get back on top of what we're talking about. So I try to test it in that way. And people are like, whoa. So it is smart. But again, I don't want it to use it to replace anything. I want it to help me have more conversations, right?
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Here's the fact of the matter is all of our bigger companies, Delta, credit card companies, all these bigger companies have already made voice AI mainstream. When you call Comcast, are you talking to voice AI or a live human? DirecTV, you're talking to voice AI, so they've already made it mainstream. They've already made it natural, okay? But we as solo business owners, small business owners, still think, oh, I have to have the actual conversation. So then my point to that is, who would you rather have? Would you rather have an individual that has a very thick accent that you have to train, pray they show up, and you could hardly understand? Or would you rather have voice AI call that's trained on Mike Ferry scripts, Tom Ferry scripts, and knows how to overcome objections and sounds real? Would you rather have?
100%. And do you think from like being able to put yourself in the consumer's, feet, obviously the curiosity side of things, that'll subside at some point, but do you think it's a consumer thing that understands AI, that know it's going to, be able to answer the questions that they have and being able to do it? Like, where do you think that the consumer confidence would rather talk to the AI versus talk to the human?
Once the AI realizes it can answer any question you ask it.
Yeah.
And here's the beautiful thing. You could literally feed it any amount of data, right? You could feed it the market update every single week that the market update comes out, and actually have an intellectual conversation with a potential buyer or seller.
That's a great distinction. I didn't even think about that, Tony. That is such a great point, is keeping it in tune. I mean, obviously you can give it the snapshots, but can we just not like plug it into the MLS and let it have access to what's really happening from the data there from the source?
You could imagine doing a bot specifically for your listings, a listing specific one. They could tell everything about the home, and then also tell them about the other homes in the same community.
I tell you, one of the coolest things that I've seen, Tony, was client used Perplexity, I think Perplexity Pro computer, and took some pictures off their iPhone of the property and uploaded it in there and have it create a ROI calculator back to the seller on things to change, what it's going to cost to repair and what the ROI is. And it said, hey, do all of these things that don't cost any money. It's just going to be a little, a little bit of elbow grease to get it done. But here's the ROI perception if you do these things. And then it said, hey, but don't worry about finishing out the garage because the amount of money to finish it out versus the ROI, it's not a good return. It doesn't matter. Don't do it. And I'm like, how many sellers think that they've got to finish that garage because that's going to matter if somebody's buying it? But here's the synopsis. Here's the breakdown. It's like, dude, here's the ROI. It's not going to matter. Don't waste your time on that. And I was just like, holy smokes, right? Coming from, my whole real estate career was forged in your home sold guaranteed or we'll buy it. Therefore, that's primary, go to sleep, wake up thinking about motivated, desperate sellers. But being able to have tools like that in moments, how powerful that is. And if you're not doing those things, I think like what you and I were talking about before, dude, you're going to get crushed by not being able to move like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, but no, I have a huge pressure that chat AI. And here's another one. If you're an agent, why not have a voice AI bubble on your website? So that way, whenever somebody goes to your website, they can instantly call somebody on your team right away. A little pop-up bubble. What would that do for website conversions? Knowing that they could talk to, you want to differentiate yourself from Zillow, Realtor.com. You want people to go to your website and differentiate yourself. Put a live call button on your website. And you're probably thinking, well, I can't answer the phone. It's chat, it's voice AI. Let voice AI pick up one of those calls. And then let it live transfer it to you once they've pre-qualified that lead.
I love that. I mean, that's worth the price of just listening to this conversation, is being able to just, if they implemented anything from here, to implement that, what that could do, picking up a handful of more deals a year by just implementing that one simple little strategy. It's so good. Besides that, Tony, someone listening in that really desperately wants to win in this market, that was a great little thing that they could do immediately and pick up some traction. Besides that, what would be the first go-to move that they need to make this week?
I'm throwing curveball coming. What I would do is I would go to my local Facebook group, my mom's group, or whatever community group I have, and say, hey there, I'm putting together a survey on individuals planning to move in the next 60 days. If you plan to move in the next 60 days, would you mind just dropping something in the chat? I'm really curious to see how many people are actually moving in and out of my area. Guess what I just did? I got 150 people to raise their hand saying I'm looking to move. So I'm going to sit there and start DMing those people and saying, hey, I noticed you were looking to move. I would absolutely love to help you move and show you how I can help you save money. The hardest part is getting people to actually raise hands who actually want your services. Mm-hmm. You have to be, realtors say, I don't have enough money. I don't have money to do this. It's not a lack of resources. It's a lack of resourcefulness, right? That one little tip, you can go out literally in the next 10 minutes and get 20 leads of buyers that are looking to buy. Who here is looking to buy new construction in the next 6 months here in Mount Dora, Florida?
Yeah.
There you go. Go do a buyer webinar showing them how you're going to help them save thousands, because guess what? Most of these builders right now are offering insane incentives. Why not credit them $1,000 back at closing or something like that?
Yeah. Dude, it's so good. I mean, you're so spot on. I mean, it really is motivated sellers, new construction buyers. But most of the conversation has been around AI and automations, and you're like, dude, just go do some work. Here's what you need to go do. So there is a little bit of a curveball. I love that. It's so good. Hey, Tony, as we wrap up, kind of share a little bit about the project that you've got going on with your business partner and the ladies of Florida, the Queen and Queen V and Queen K that you guys have rocking with your new project.
Yeah, so we are myself, Veronica Figueroa, Kendall Bonner, and Jake Randolph, my business partner. Me and Jake have a couple of business ventures together. We formed a community called Climber. Climber is a non-brand agnostic educational community where you could come in and get I call ninja tips and tricks on how to grow and scale your business like I said before, it's not a lack of resource, lack of resourcefulness. We give you that resourcefulness. And not only that, if you are a Climber member, we give you Go High Level for free.
Yeah, so good. It's so good.
So now everybody knows, like if you're a Climber member listening in, you want High Level for free. If you want to automate your business for free, get in the room. Just get in the room.
Get in the room and have them show me, right?
Yes, and exactly. And the also cool point is we have a huge we don't recruit out of it. It's not, we just want you guys, we want to grow an ecosystem that truly comes from a place of helping agents scale and grow without the brand.
Yeah.
Build your own brand.
Build your own brand. It's so good.
Yeah.
Tony, brother, I appreciate you. I mean, I knew this was going to fly by. So many golden nuggets inside of there. And, as we wrap this up, listen, if you guys listening in, you made it to this far, if you've got value from today's conversation, don't just listen, implement. Listen to what Tony gave, so many little nuggets. I mean, I've got my to-do list. I'm actually going to, Tony, you're going to be proud. I'm actually going to go here. I'm going to go to my team communication. I'm going to hit the whisper flow button, and I'm going to voice to them everything that we talked about that they need to get implemented immediately. So it's not just listening. It's all about the implementation. Guys, go be a part of the Climber community. Tony knows exactly what he's talking about. You've also got, the ladies that I admire and respect a ton, be a part of it.
Yeah, I'll say this. Veronica even does coaching calls in there. To coach with Veronica is like $2,000 or $3,000 an hour. You get it for free in there. So
yeah. I love it. I love it. And, guys, make sure, go in, be a part of the Climber network, Climber community. And, if you want a little bit deeper dive, have a conversation with myself, you can go to sevenfigurecall.com, book the clarity call. And, look forward to seeing everybody on the next one. Tony, appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. And anything that we can do to give back to you, please do not hesitate to ask.
Hey, well, thank you so much for having me today. And for those listeners out there, thank you for listening in, tuning in, and we'll see you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Tony. See you.
All right.